Hello, Viz here, and this is Arms Warrior PvP guide for the Cataclysm Classic. In this guide I will talk about race choice, best stats you will need, enchants and gems, talents for battlegrounds, arenas, and even rotation and simple macros. In the first place for the alliance is a human. Human has racial spell Will to Survive, which remove all movement impairing effects and all effect which cause loss of control of your character. The same effect also give one of the PvP trinkets, but you don't have to wear it as a human. Instead of it you can choose another trinket that increases damage, and because of this human is the best race for Arms Warrior in PvP. Human also has passive racials like swords and mace specializations, which are worth mentioning because both of them increase expertise by 3%, but only if you wear this type of weapons. Don't ignore expertise in Cataclysm because it's matter in PvP. I will talk about it more later on in this guide. In the first place for the Horde is Orc. Orc has a racial spell Blood Fury and it increases attack power for 15 seconds. Blood Fury has 2 minutes of cooldown. Orc racial spell is not as good as second damage trinket which you can wear as a human because it gave more damage and it's least longer than Blood Fury. This makes the Orc weaker than human for PvP. Orc has also passive racials like Hardiness and X specialization. Hardiness reduces duration of the stun effects by additional 15%, which is very useful in PvP, especially against rogues, druids and paladins. The second good orc passive racial for PvP is X specialization. It's increased expertise by 3% for X type of weapons. If you have a choice as a orc, you should wear X type of weapons. The second best race for alliance is Dwarf. Dwarf has a racial stone form which remove all poison, disease and bleed effects and reduce all damage taken by 10% for 8 seconds. It has a 2 minutes of cooldown. Poison, disease and bleed effect removal is very strong defense against rogues, druids and warriors, especially against rogues and feral druids because they have extremely powerful bleeds in Cataclysm. For other melee classes and casters, the 10% damage reduction for 8 seconds is also helpful for offensive and defensive plays in PvP. Dwarf also has passive racials like Mace Specialization and Frost Resistance, which are worth mention. Mace Specialization is same as Orc and Human passive racials, which are increases expertise by 3%. Frost Resistance is something special because it increases resistance for harmful frost effect by 85, which means it reduces frost damage taken by an average of 13% in Cataclysm, and in PvP it's good against frost mages and frost dead knights. The second best race for Horde is Tauren. Tauren has spell Racial War Stomp, which stuns up to 5 enemies within 8 yards for 2 seconds. It has half second of cast and 2 minutes of cooldown. An additional CC is always helpful in PvP. Tauren also has 2 good passive racials, Endurance and Nature Resistance, which are worth mention. Endurance increases base health by 5%, Nature Resistance increases your resistance to harmful nature effect by 85, which means it reduces nature damage taken by an average of almost 13%, and it's useful against rogues and balanced druids in PvP. The third best class for alliance is Gnome. Gnome has a racial spell Escape Artist, which removes all immobilizing or movement speed reduction effects, and it has only 1.5 minutes of cooldown in Cataclysm. Escape Artist is useful in PvP to close the gap against mages, dead knights or rogues, but is also helpful against rest of class which can slow you. Gnome has also passive racial Arcane Resist, which is worth mention. Arcane Resist increases your resist to harmful arcane effect by 85, which means it reduces arcane damage by an average of almost 13%, and in PvP Arcane Resist is good against arcane mages and balanced druids. The third best race for Horde is Blood Elf. Blood Elf has racial spell Arcane Torrent, which silences all enemies within 8 yards for 2 seconds and increases rage by 15 points, It has 2 minutes of cooldown and it's a strong and useful racial for warrior in PvP because you gain an additional CC. Blue Delph has only one passive racial, which is Arcane Resist, and it does the same thing as Gnome passive, which is resist to harmful arcane effects. Okay, let's talk about statistics. The first most important statistic in Cataclysm PvP is Resilience. Resilience in Cataclysm provides damage reduction against all damage done by players and their pets or minions. You can get Resilience only from PvP items or gems. This is why you should wear most of the time PvP items. I will tell you more how much of it you need later when I will talk about gearing. Another very important statistic in PvP is hit rating. Hit rating is a stat that exists to reduce your chance to miss when you're attacking enemies. The amount of hit chance needed to not miss any attacks is 5%. If you have 5% hit rating, then you should get minimum 20% expertise rating. Expertise reduces your attack chance to be dodged or parried when you're attacking enemy players. Another very good stat for warrior are strength and critical strike. Strength increases the damage done by the warrior, and critical strike is also very good because it increases the chance of dealing critical damage, and if you do critical damage you get more rage and you do more damage because of it. Mastery and haste are statistics you should not focus as an arms warrior in PvP, because the other statistics mentioned before are better. Mastery grants you chance for your melee attacks to instantly trigger an additional melee attack for 100% normal damage. Mastery is good, but critical strike is better than it. Haste increases your damage per second and attack speed, which accelerates rage generation speed, but still critical strike is better because it increases rage faster. For PvP, usually you need the whole Gladiator's gear, because you need resilience. Don't forget, as a human you can wear 2 PvP trinkets for damage because of your class racial. If you are non-human, you must replace one of the damage trinkets another with the same effect as an human racial, which remove all losses of control of your character, but because of it you lose an additional damage. The best types of weapon for a warrior are the two-handed axes, maces and swords. If you have a choice, you should get the type that is good for your race because of passive racial, as I mentioned before. You will also need one-handed weapon and shield to switch due to some warrior spells such as a spell reflect requires them. If you don't have two-handed PvP weapon and if you have better from PvE, you should wear it. And you will still be good with resilience if you have the whole PvP gear. If you have whole PvP gear and PvP weapon, you should replace knuckles, cloak and rings to PvE equivalents. If you have PvP weapon and you don't have knuckles, cloak and rings to replace them from PvE, then you should replace one of your PvP trinket to PvE equivalent. For the helm you need 16 strength and 35 resilience rating. You can get this enchant from vendor. For the shoulders you need 15 strength and 25 critical strike rating. You can get this enchant from vendor. For cloak you need 16.5 critical strike. You can get it from enchanter or auction house. For chest the best is 20 to all stats, but if you need more damage reduction you can use 40 resilience. Both enchants you can get from enchanter or auction house. For bracers it depends what you need, because you can get 15 expertise, 15 hit rating or 15 strength. You can get all enchants from enchanter or auction house. For gloves you can get 15 strength or 15 expertise. It depends what you need. You can get both enchants from enchanter or auction house. For belt you need additional socket enchant. You can get it from blacksmithing or auction house. For pounds you need 190 attack power plus 55 critical strike rating. You can get it from leatherworking or auction house. For boots you need enchant that increases movement speed slightly, which means that it increases movement speed by 8% and stamina by 30. You can get this enchant from enchanter or auction house. For two-handed weapon you need landslide enchant. It sometimes increases attack power by 1000 for 12 seconds You can get it from Enchanter or Auction House. If you get bow or gun from PvE, you want 88 ranged hit rating, you can get it from Engineer or Auction House. For one-handed weapon you need medding, it sometimes heal you when damaging an enemy with spells and melee attacks. You can get it from Enchanter or Auction House. For shield you need 160 armor, you can get it from Enchanter or Auction House. Now let's talk about gems. At the beginning of Cataclysm it's good to have a socket bonus from items, but meta gem bonus you need always. For meta gem socket you need 54 strength and 3% increase critical effect gem and 3 red gems in the items to activate it. For red socket you want red 40 strength gems, or if you don't have 20% expertise from gear, red 40 expertise gems. If you don't have enough expertise and hit rating, you can put also 20 strength plus 20 hit rating gems. For yellow socket you want yellow 40 resilience rating gems if you don't have that many PvP items, or orange 20 strength plus 20 resilience rating gems if you have too many PvP parts and you need more damage. For blue socket you want blue 40 hit rating gems if you don't have 5% hit chance, or purple 20 expertise rating plus 20 hit rating gems if you don't have 20 expertise and 5% hit chance. You can use also purple 20 expertise rating plus 30 stamina if you don't have only 20% expertise. Stamina is not that bad because all PvP gear have it and it boosts health. If you don't need hit rating and expertise, you can also always go with green 20 resilience plus 30 stamina gems. Talent and glyphs in Cataclysm are controversial topics, and they are just suggestions based on my experience because I've been playing warrior for years. Okay, let's look at talents for battlegrounds. Put 3 points in War Academy. Put 3 points in the field dressing. Put 2 points in blitz. This is good especially for BGs where there are many players next to each other. Put 2 points in the second wind. Put 2 points in the deep wounds. Put 3 points in the taste for blood. Put 1 point in sweeping strike. Sweeping strike is very good for BGs because on BGs you also need to do AoE damage and it does it. Put 2 points in impale. Put 1 point in deadly calm. Put 2 points in blood frenzy. Put 3 points in the lance to the slather. Put 1 point in juggernaut. Put 2 points in sudden death. Put 2 points in wrecking crew. Put 1 point in throwdown. Put 1 point in blade storm. Put 3 points in the broad grace because it will heal you a lot when your healer is not around you. Put 3 points in cruelty to crit more and have more rage because of it. Put 2 points in the root interruption, it is very good for BGs, you will very often interrupt cast in BGs and this talent will increase your damage overall. Put 1 point in piercing hole, in BG are many players next to each other and this spell is OP because you can slow all of them at the same time. Put 2 points in blood and thunder, this talent will spread your rend to all enemy players around you. When you use Thunderclap, it's great talent for BGs. Okay, now let's look at talents for arenas. Put 3 points in the War Academy. Put 2 points in the field dressing. Put 2 points in the second wind. Put 2 points in the deep wounds. Put 3 points in the taste for blood. Put 1 point in sweeping strike. This talent is very good for pressure in arena, but you must be careful to not interrupt CC when you use it. Put 2 points in impale. Put 2 points in improved hamstring. In arena you will use hamstring a lot. It's good to have global cooldown reduction from it, and also when it immobilizes the target it can't move and you can pop your CDs and kill it fast. Improved hamstring is very powerful talent for arenas. Put 1 point in deadly calm. Don't put any point in improved slam. Slam is bad in arena because it have cast time and it can be easily missed when enemy is out of its range. Put 2 points in blood frenzy. Put 2 points in the lamps to the slaughter. Put 1 point in juggernaut. Put 1 point in sudden death. Put 2 points in wrecking crew. Put 1 point in throwdown. Put 1 point in blade storm. Put 1 point in blood craze because you don't need as much self-healing when you have healer on your back. Put 2 points in cruelty. In my opinion, Princeling Hall in arena is not very good because the 10 yards of its range is not enough. Even with Glyph and there are not that many use cases of it. Put 3 points in insight because in arena you will use heroic strike a lot because heroic strike does not have global cooldown and people who say slam is better don't know what they are talking about. Put 2 points in toughness. It's good to have more armor because it's reduced physical damage. Yes, it only applies to melee classes, but in defensive tree you don't have too many choices. You can't go with Blood and Thunder in my opinion because when you spread rain to all enemies, it can sometimes break CC and it is bad for arena. Put 2 points in toughness and you will be good. Put 2 points in Gag Order. Gag Order is great in arena because as a warrior you gain range silence. This is a very powerful talent and it's worth every point to get into it in the defensive tree. The best primary glyphs for arena are Glyph of Mortal Strike, Glyph of Overpower and Glyph of Bladestorm. Bladestorm is a very strong spell in arena because in most cases it's used to avoid CC and good to have its own less cooldown. But when it comes to primary glyph, there is not that many better choices. For major glyph, you will very often use Glyph of Shield Wall. It's reduced damage taken by an additional 20% of it. This is very strong defensive glyph. Next glyph you will very often use is Glyph of Spell Reflection. It's reduced cooldown of it by 5 seconds. Spell Reflection is very good in arena, especially against team with casters. Next glyph you will usually use is Glyph of Sweeping Strike. It's reduced the rage cost of it by 100%. Rage-free Sweeping Strike is even more powerful in arena with it. Major glyphs you should change depending on arena. Sometimes you need swap Sweeping Strike with Glyph of Intervene when you fight against rogues or hunters. Glyph of Intervene increases the number of attacks you intercept for your intervene target by 1. If you will fight against double caster teams, you should swap Glyph of Sweeping Strike with Glyph of Long Charge, which extend your charge range by 5 additional yards. For minor glyphs you should use Glyph of Berserker Rage, Glyph of Demoralizing Shout, which increases duration of it by 15 seconds and area of it by 50%. Yes, you should use Demoralizing Shout in arenas. The last minor glyph you should use is Glyph of Intimidating Shout. This glyph makes enemies stay in place when you fear them. It's good for chain CC with your healer. Now I will show you single target opener for arenas. Always use Battle Shout or Commanding Shout before arena start to get buff from it. Usually start with Charge, if not use Battle Shout or Commanding Shout. Next use Hamstring. After it use Rend. Next use Colossal Smash. After it use Mortal Strike and use twice Overpower. If you have a lot of rage, spam Heroic Strike. If you wanna maintain damage on arena, use Mortal Strike on cooldown, use Overpower on cooldown, use Colossal Smash on cooldown. Then spam Heroic Strike if you have a lot of rage. If Mortal Strike, Overpower and Colossal Smash are on cooldown, reapply Hamstring if needed, or use Demoralizing Shout or Thunderclap. If you wanna do a lot of damage, use Deadly Calm and use your Damage Trinket or Rachel in the same time. After Deadly Calm ends, pop Inner Rage with Recklessness. Now I will talk about AoE rotation for BGs. Use Sweeping Strike on cooldown, use Charge on cooldown, use Praising Hole if needed, use Rend if needed, use Thunderclap on cooldown, use Mortal Strike on cooldown, use Overpower on cooldown, use Bladestorm when Sweeping Strike is on cooldown. If Sweeping Strike and Bladestorm are on cooldown, then spam Glyph. Subscribe, like and comment for more guides like this.